And today we're actually going to talk about something that I don't know. I don't know what we're going to talk about today, but I'm having an article in front of me, but I haven't checked what it is about. I know the title, and I can tell you the title. The title is 5 hugely fun facts about the mass and not the weight, which is just a difference. And there is an ant as well that is holding a leaf. And the leaf is like 10 times bigger than the ant. But yeah, so this is what we're going to talk about today. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I kind of assume that it is going to be something that's quite interesting. I maybe just hope. Let's go for hope actually. But yeah, we're going to do that after the intro. But I actually have to kind of just get some anti-noise shit here. So there is a blanket, and so we're going to have this blanket here, and we're gonna have this towel there, and also that you're fine. I'm actually also gonna use this because I have seen that it's not always that optimal. It might be a little bit muddy, kind of, but I hope that I'm gonna be able to just edit it out then in post-production. But yeah, with that being said, hello, welcome back to the next episode of the Self-Development with Tactics podcast. I'm super happy to be here, even though I've wasted a bit of time, maybe half an hour, which is just really a lot, on just searching for an article to go through, and I'm still having only one, and I don't know if this is even gonna be a good one, but we're gonna see. I think I'm gonna I can't show you, thank you motherfucking bitch, but here you are, and it is a tiny bit too big. It is a tiny bit too big, like my dick. It's also not that long of an article, which is always a good thing, by the way, because I'm not that of a good reader, and I just actually have to make sure that I'm not getting too much of the fucking noise this fucking computer is making on their recording. It's pretty loud, but it is always pretty loud because this is what it is. I'm gonna read. A tiny leaf cutter ant carrying a huge leaf in his mouth, or its mouth actually, while zipping along the edge of a sidewalk in the Soberania National Forest in Panama. Mass and weight, indeed. Climb Mount Everest and you're guaranteed to lose some weight, but not because of the exercise. A person who is standing at sea level weighs slightly more than they would atop the mountain's peak. Weight is the measurement of gravity's pull on an object, and it varies by location. Whereas mass, I guess, is gonna be, or it's gonna stay the same, I assume. Mass is a different beast altogether, one that's proven extremely hard to define. Although this is a bit of an oversimplification in physics classroom, students are told mass denotes 2 key characteristics of an object. The first is the amount of matter it contains, and the second is a thing's ability to resist change in its state of motion. Isn't it just by Newton, those axioms, or those states of motion, or sentences, or whatever they are called, I don't know. We call that phenomenon inertia. Unlike weight, mass is constant and holds firm no matter where an object travels, which is interesting. I haven't actually thought about that, but this is actually why I'm going through these how stuff works articles, because they're just talking about some things. And by the way, this one is by Mark Mancini or however, and is published on March 26th, 2020. So it's actually a really recent article. But as I've said before, like, they're talking about some things that I just don't even think about, which is something that's pretty amazing, because then I'm just not only talking about, like, I don't know, passion and being a nice person, all these things that I'm normally just 99% of the time talk about all the time. And also because I think that these are all just as well some interesting things. I at least think that they're interesting, quite. Therefore, you can never know too much about this all-important property. Here are 5 massively cold divots we felt like sharing. The first one is, there is a unit of mass called a slug. It is a part of the US customary unit system and the less popular British imperial system. For most of the world, the preferred unit of mass is the kilogram. Yeah, and well, I don't want to just get into that conversation, but I don't understand why. Just the whole world is having one system and just some parts are having another system. Like, I don't give a fuck whether I just now should be using the metric system or just some other system. Like, I don't give a fuck, but it kind of would make sense that we all had the same one. Quite. But yeah. For most of the world, the preferred unit mass, the unit of mass is the kilogram, 1,000 of which equal a metric ton. Yes, 1,000 kilograms is 1 ton. Kilograms belong to the International System of Units, also known as the metric system. While they are everyday terms in other countries, Americans tend to be more reliant on US customary units. Now you might assume the system's answer to the kilogram is the pound, yet pounds are technically units of weight. So, okay, I see, like, the kilogram is mass and weight, whereas the pound is only weight. Both the US customary and the British imperial system measure mass with a different unit called a slut. A Zlatan Ibrahimovic. On Earth, 1 slug is equal to about 32.2 pounds or 40.60 kilograms. So even so, it rarely comes up in casual conversations and most users aren't familiar with the term. That is a real pity. Imagine WrestleMania fans cracking slug jokes by the ringside. I just imagine it right now, you know, it's in my head and it's processing and it's not funny because maybe just because this is not like my territory, if you will. In terms of like, I mean, I've never ever watched WrestleMania, you know, it's not part of my culture basically. This is why. But I know that I'm actually having a lot of American listeners. Actually, the majority seems to be American, like 3 people and 2 of them, maybe 2.5, I would even say, kind of, let's actually go for 2 because people say, and it is also said that there is no 2.5 people or a half of a person and whatnot, but yeah, the thing is, I know, and I appreciate that, and I also just, I accept that. You know, in terms of like, okay, I do not really want to just fuck anybody for just doing something because this is his or her culture. Like, I don't give a fuck. Unless it is something that's hurting then other people. Like, then I just don't give a fuck about your culture then. Quite. You know. The second thing, the scientist who deserved the law of conservation of mass was beheaded. Discovered the law of conservation of mass. In every operation, wrote the great chemist Antoine Lavoisier. I think it kind of sounds French, but yeah, anyway. An equal quantity of matter exists before and after the operation. Yeah, which is something, if you've just been attending school, you probably also have heard about that. Which means that if you're just having what is it called? Fuck. If something is like blah, 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 equals blah, 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 then on the left side and on the right side, you have to have the same amount of matter. Which means that if you have just 2 oxygen, do you call it like this? I don't actually know, but if you have 2 oxygen on one side, then you're also gonna have 2 oxygen on the other side. If it is, then just split it up into 1 oxygen per se, so on its own basically, and an oxygen that is somehow stick to something else. Doesn't matter, but it gotta have to be there, you know? Put another way, mass can neither be created nor destroyed. As I said also before, Newton said, this principle has been named the law of conservation of mass. Lavoisier's experiment in the late 18th century brought this idea to light. Fellow scientists embraced his findings, but Lavoisier's career was cut short, literally. When he wasn't decomposing water or making rust on purpose, Lavoisier helped collect taxes for the French government. That got him guillotined in 1794 after he was charged with conspiracy against the people of France by revolutionary forces. Well, that's a really smart thing to do by the people, you know? Killing somebody that's trying to find something, and somebody that was able to find something. But it's pretty interesting because they didn't mention Newton there. So either I'm wrong, which definitely can be the case, like, you know, I can give a shit. But I think it is by Newton, isn't it? Like, you can't destroy energy, you can't create energy, you can only just transform. It's actually, so I'm thinking, but it's the exact same thing as it is with habits. You can't destroy habits, well, you can't, This is now a good question, because the thing is, you only exchange habits, you know, it's not really like you break them, and therefore, if I'm also thinking about it, you can't also create them, because if it is about exchanging habits, if it is about, like, for example, you quote-unquote create a new habit of drinking more water, then you're basically exchanging this habit with the habit of maybe doing something else, because you just have to cut back some time for drinking water. Like, you can't add it to your day without just restricting something or without just subtracting something. Which means that maybe you're just exchanging it with the habit of, I don't know, just wasting time or some shit. Like you could name it. If it makes sense, maybe not really. But we are only exchanging habits. This is something that James Clear, I think, said, who is a really well-read person when it comes to all the habit thing and whatnot. So he's also written the Atomic Habits, the book, or Atomic Habit. No, it's Atomic Habits as far as I remember. And which is a really great book. And he's also having a lot of free resources on his site, and they're also really good. It's part of the most famous equation ever written. Of course, we are talking about E is or equals mc squared. Stated in plain English, it says energy equals mass times the speed of light squared. Albert Einstein discussed the flip side of this equation in a classic paper published on September 27th, 1905. It's actually quite some time ago, even though not that much. It's only quite 100 years. By the way, he was only 26 years old at the time. Said Einstein, it followed from the special theory of relativity that mass and energy are both but different manifestations of the same thing, a somewhat unfamiliar conception for the average mind. So there is an inherent energy found in all objects that possesses mass. Einstein's breakthrough explains why every atom is slightly less massive than the sum of its parts, namely the protons, neutrons, and electrons which comprise it. And the same energy and mass relationship, he observed, accounts for the destructive power of atomic bombs. I actually do not know how atomic bombs work. I can only assume that there is some core or nucleus splitting, if you call it like this. I don't know. Or just fusions, maybe. I'm maybe actually gonna just search it up really quickly after. Yeah, I can, I guess. The fourth one is light consists of massless particles. Photons are the fundamental particles of light. Experts describe them as being massless. You see, the speed of traveling object always changes its mass, because that can complicate scientific discussions. When physicists talk about the mass of a given body or particle, what they're usually referring to is its rest mass. Mass or whatever. Basically, that is the mass it possesses when its velocity is equal to 0. Neutrons, protons, and electrons all have rest masses, but photons don't. Neither do gluons, another type of subatomic particle. The more I know. The fifth one, and also the last one. Earth shares a common center of mass with the moon. Earth's mass is 81 times greater than the moon's. The disparity has a profound effect on a relationship. When you've got two or more heavenly bodies like moons, planets, and suns orbiting each other, they are really revolving around a common center of mass, called the Barycenter. Its location depends on the participants. If two objects with the same mass start orbiting one another, their Barycenter will be situated directly between them. But since Earth is so much larger than the moon, the Earth-Moon Barycenter is located deep inside of our home world, and yet the Earth still revolves around it, just like the moon does. But we're just not maybe seeing it practically, because we're just basically going around ourselves, which actually might turn out because we're moving. You know, we're constantly moving. Which, by the way, if you think about it, like, it is an insane thing. Right at this time, I'm looking out of my window, there's nothing that's moving. No, there's really nothing that's moving. I just had to check. But the thing is, we all are moving all the fucking time. But, yeah, it's actually a pretty amazing thing. Really, really, really interesting and amazing thing. But let's actually, should I check? But before I'm doing that, I hope that I can do it. No, fuck you. Okay, I'm gonna Google it. How atomic bombs work. Let's see. Nuclear fission, or it's called fission. Or is it called fission? Well, never mind. Produces the atomic bomb, a weapon of mass destruction that uses power released by the splitting of atomic nuclei. Nucleuses? It's nuclei. When a single free neutron strikes the nucleus of an atom of radioactive material like uranium or plutonium, it knocks 2 or 3 more neutrons free. I see. So there's a chain reaction, and it's also exponentially, isn't it? Isn't there also just some... I mean, do they have to look like this? Or is this just so that they're flying better or shit? Uranium, hollow plutonium, and stuff. Ah, I see. So there is TNT and U-235 trigger explosion. And then it just... And the question of today. The question of today is... And I have once again not made my mind up for that. But the question of today is... Are you doing something to make somebody else's life better? It is actually a sentence that's very important for me, and it is a sentence that really also changed myself in some way. And I've been listening to the sentence spoken by Will Smith. Today, once again, while I was working, I thought like, well, actually, let's push again some motivational speeches into my ears, into my head, which is definitely something that I've did for quite some time. And also just up to now, actually, I have kind of lost it once again, since I'm feeling good and I don't feel really like I just need a lot of motivation because everything is running smoothly. But I thought like, well, let's listen to it once again and see what, not really what it does, but just back to the old days, kinda, I'd say. And it is a cool thing, I'd say, quite. And it's really been an important thing for me as well. I really do believe that I wouldn't be such an optimistic and also maybe even motivated person, but definitely optimistic person as I am right now, and I'm really happy about that. Like, there's not a lot of negativity that I'm seeing in the world. There really not. And it might really be the case that this is what would happen to me, or this is what changed me. I don't know, actually. Like, there's no just scientific evidence of that, but yeah, I believe in that. But yeah, I think this is gonna be no, I've just done something wrong. So I wish you the best health, happiness, and also success, and also hope that you're gonna remind yourself and you're gonna be remembered, which basically means your legacy, and basically means just being a nice person, then being remembered as a nice person. Yeah, with that being said, I'm hopefully gonna see you the next time. And 3 other questions that I'm having for you are: why are you here? What are you trying to change? And what is bothering you the most? These 3 questions are hopefully gonna show you your purpose and maybe even a business idea, but hopefully at least your purpose. And yeah, with that being said, hopefully gonna see you the next time, the 3rd time or something. And yeah, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and listening to this and watching this and stuff. Like, it really means a lot to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I'm gonna see you the next time, the 4th time.